guys, what's up? Mr. Lidkea here. Today on this video, we are going to be describing shapes. I'm going to talk to you about 3 different attributes that we're going to use to describe shapes. Okay, describing shapes. What we're talking about for the 3 attributes that we're going to use today are the length of the sides, the direction of the sides, and we're going to label each vertex and talk about how to name it that way. A vertex is just a fancy way of saying corner, where 2 sides meet. Let's go over here. This shape up here, we have a square. It has 4 equal sides. The way that we're going to show the equal sides is we're going to use hatch marks. All that is putting a mark that's the same on each side. Okay? So I've got a mark on each side that shows that I have 4 equal sides. On this shape, I've got some sides that are equal. This side and this side are opposite. They're equal, so I'm going to put 1 hatch mark on that side, each one. This side and this side are also equal, but they're not the same as these ones. So I'm going to use 2 hatch marks. That way, we can identify easily which sides are equal and which sides are not. Okay, let's talk about the direction of sides. What that means is, are there any sides of this shape that are parallel? Or what are the directions that the lines are running in? Parallel means that the lines are always the same distance apart and they never meet. If you want to think of a good example, think of railroad tracks or the edges of a desk. If this side and this side are going in the same direction, they never touch. So what we're going to do to identify parallel sides is use arrows. I'm going to put 1 arrow on this side and 1 arrow on this side to show that these 2 sides are parallel. Now, in this shape, we've got more parallel sides. These 2 sides are both parallel to each other. They're going to go the same distance apart and they're never going to meet. So we can label them with a different set of arrows. Those arrows show that these 2 sides are parallel and that they're running in the same direction. Now, let's look again at another example. Over here, we've got 2 sides that are going to be the same distance apart and never meet. So let's put arrows on them. Can you find another set of parallel sides in this shape? Of course you can. They're right here. A rectangle is very similar to a square. So we can go ahead and label the other 2 parallel sides using the same method we used up here, 2 arrows. There. Now I've labeled all of my parallel sides. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, here's another example. For this shape, I drew a triangle. Now, what did we say about parallel sides? We said that parallel sides are sides that are always going to be the same distance apart and never meet. What do we notice about all of the sides of this shape? Well, they all meet. Each line meets, okay, like a triangle. This side has no parallel sides because all of these lines join up at some point, okay? For example, you might say, well, those 2 are opposite, but they meet right here. This side also could be opposite of these, but they all meet up at a corner, okay? So we say this shape has no parallel sides. All right, let's talk about the next attribute. Okay. So for this one, it says label each vertex. What does that mean? Well, like I said before, vertex is a fancy name for corner, okay? So we're going to label all of the corners where the lines meet of this shape. I'm going to use the letters L, M, and N. I find it easier to use letters that are in order, and I label them in alphabetical order. So if we're going to name this shape by labeling its vertexes, we would call this shape triangle L, M, N. Okay? So we've got triangle L, M, N. Let's look at another example. Okay, here we have another rectangle. So let's go ahead and put letters on the corners of this shape. I'm going to go ahead and use L, M, N, and O. L, M, N, and O. So now that we've labeled the vertices, we can call this rectangle L, M, N, O. There we have it. Rectangle L, M, N, O. Some ways to describe shapes. We can use the three attributes that we talked about here. The length of sides, using those hatch marks to show which sides are equal. We can talk about the direction of sides. That's if it's parallel or not. And then we can label each vertex. That's putting a letter on each of the corners using the name of the shape and those letters to call it or to describe that shape. For example, here, rectangle L, M, N, O. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on Google Hangouts, Google Classroom, or by email. You guys did great today. Thanks for watching.